Welcome, college basketball fans, to the Full Court Press Podcast with LT and Sammy D. This is the podcast that brings you legendary stories from college basketball's golden era and dives in deep with a current analysis of today's game. Get ready for the most energetic and entertaining college basketball podcast around. Let's get it.
Hello, and welcome back to another Full Court Press, a college basketball coaches show powered by the Full Court Network. It's hot outside. It's going to be hot in here. Hopefully this next guest has put some suntan lotion on because we're going to burn with some of these questions. He's back on the hot seat. We got Coach Steve Lutz, Oklahoma State, the Cowboys, a.k.a. the Pokes. Coach, welcome back to the Full Court Press.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
happy to be here.
Yeah. He's just smiling at us, Sam.
I know. He's like, "What am I doing? What am I doing?" We're gonna get into kind of what you're doing, Coach. And it's these off seasons aren't really off seasons anymore. For the coaching staff, and you've been busy, kind of building rosters, scheduling, and so I want to go into that in a little bit. But first, I kind of want to hear from you, kind of how that first season at Oklahoma State went, and if it met your expectations. I know the time you got hired was a little awkward with being able to put together the right pieces and play your style, but we definitely saw some of that last year. And how would you kind of grade that first year for you there?
Certainly a learning experience. Obviously, the SEC was unbelievable, but the Big 12 was right behind it. A tough league each night. It's really hard to get your head up. We started off in the league, if I'm not mistaken, 2-7, and then we played 500, therein after that. And in my mind, if you can, and this is not obviously what we're shooting for, but if you can play 500 in the Big 12, moving forward, you're going to have an opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament, right? Because you have so many quad 1 and quad 2 opportunities. So, starting 2-7 just puts you behind the 8 ball, and we've got to be better moving forward with that. But I do like, the fact that we competed all year long. We set a standard, set a culture. We were able to get into the NIT and win a couple games. So I think, and I feel confident in saying that I felt like, we did a good job with the team that we had, and specifically those guys did a good job of representing Oklahoma State basketball in the right manner and setting a good foundation for the future. With that being said, we all understand that the NCAA tournament is a measuring stick, and that's where we've got to get.
Yeah. No, that's it's very well said. And I think when you look at like coaches' legacies, right, when they're at certain places, and this being a really nice spot for you throughout your career, that first team that you always have is, it's true. Like you said, it's like you did the best you could with the pieces you had, right? And then, but what we really see is in that second year, right, kind of a coach's identity be put on the court in front of the fans. So
no
what
pressure,
did you kind of
coach. No pressure.
Well, that's what it comes down to these days, right? You don't have as many years as you used to have a proven team out there, and I think that's common knowledge. But as you kind of go into that second season and you've had kind of a year under your belt, what were some of those pieces you were looking for, the last kind of 60, 90 days as you geared into the summer?
And I guess at the simplest, I felt like last year's team had identity in terms of they were gritty, they were tough, we defended, and we played the right way.
Yep.
But then offensively, I just felt like there were nights where we really had a tough time scoring the basketball. And as you look towards NCAA tournament teams, those guys that can score the ball at a consistent rate typically are able to advance, because by the time you get to the NCAA tournament, everybody's going to play hard. You're playing the best of the best. They're going to be good defensively. And you've played, 31, 32, 35 games, whatever the number is, you are who you are. So they've been able to scout you, and they know that out of a timeout, you're going to run one of 5 plays. They know that your go-to is one of 3 plays on a sideline out of bounds with under a minute to go. People do their job. They work really hard at knowing what the opponent is doing. So my point being is that if and when you get into that tournament and you get into postseason play, you've got to be able to score the basketball. So that was a huge task for us. That was something that we spent an enormous amount of time on as we evaluated people in the portal and as we evaluated high school players and transfers, was to make sure that we had guys that could score the basketball, and that will not allow the defense to maybe not guard a person or two, which is what we faced at times.
Yeah. Was there any kind of, I mean, you're an assistant at Creighton, you're an assistant at Purdue, obviously coached at I guess TAMU, Corpus Christi, and then obviously Western Kentucky. Were you kind of surprised by the style of the Big 12? I mean, how would you classify Big 12 basketball?
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, what you see is what you get, right? I mean, everybody knows that that the Big 12's a rugged, tough, physical league. Like our commissioner of officials is a guy by the name of John Higgins. I mean, obviously, whether you like him or not, he's a good official. Been a Final Four official for a long time, and John will tell you that the Big 12 is the hardest league to officiate, just because you have really good athletes, but you also have big, strong, rugged people who play a physical brand of basketball, and the coaches in this league embrace that. And so, no, I wouldn't say that we were taken off guard. I knew what I was getting into and what we were getting into when you walked into the league. Like, you better be able to strap it up every single night and go into great college environments and go beat somebody on their home floor. Otherwise, you have no chance.
How difficult was it to break the news to Big Red that you were leaving?
Yeah, Big Red wasn't around that week for some reason. I missed him. I still haven't seen him.
Oh, geez.
But it was tough leaving Western. I mean, I enjoyed my time at Western Kentucky and still keep in touch with those guys there. Obviously, I have a vested interest in Corpus Christi and Western because both of my assistants are now the head coaches.
Yeah.
So I want them to win, and I want them to win at the highest level. I just don't want to have to play them in the NCAA tournament, but that's more selfish driven on my part than anything. But no, I enjoyed Western, and Big Red is still one of my favorite mascots.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Can you tell, with all the changes that have happened with college hoops, the past, several years, and even, what's happening on a basis now, right? Talking about like NIL and conference realignments and all those kind of things. Like, has the coaching fraternity gotten stronger with some of you guys? And are you guys talking more and more?
I've not had that question. I don't know that it's gotten stronger. And I say that because people are stealing one another's players.
Yeah.
Coach, they're borrowing for a year. It's not stealing. They're borrowing. They're going to go somewhere else the next year.
Well, you're actually buying. You're buying.
So yeah, there you go. From one team. It just seems like more and more coaches, especially the ones that have gotten to know each other over the years, they're looking out for each other more because they're in the same boat almost with what they're going through to a certain level.
Sure. I mean, I guess a little bit of that is certainly going on. I mean, I am so new to this league. I don't really know who talks to whom within the league. But certainly some of the guys in the league, especially those that I was friends with prior to, we embrace one another and like, hey, man, how are y'all doing this? What is your university and your compliance department or your athletic department, saying about this? And part of that is because we're all trying to figure out what we're doing. But part of it is also just human nature that you don't want somebody else to have it better than you. And so you're like, hey, man, are you getting the same message I'm getting? And if so, how do we get the narrative changed? Mm-hmm. So I guess in that respect, yes, we are all trying to help one another, but there's always gamesmanship among coaches, man. We're always trying to one up one another.
For sure.
You don't tell them everything. And then you're like, well, this is what Oklahoma State's doing, so we can do this and be better.
Great answer, Coach. Great answer. No,
Can't
it's
give
just
away all
crazy.
the
I mean,
secrets there.
I saw you coach at the NABC convention and talk to some others and stuff like that. And I think for a lot of people, it's just head scratching. It's just like, you got to adapt or die. And, the craziest thing is asking like Coach Izzo, who's a freaking legend, you know him, Coach Oates, who's doing a great job at Alabama. It's like, how are you handling recruiting your current roster and your future roster while you're still playing in the damn tournament?
Yeah, I don't know that I have the answer, right? I try and
I got answers, Coach, but no one listens.
Well,
including Sam.
You're the one that has the microphone, so somebody's listening. Although it might be your sister and your brother and your aunt.
No, they don't listen to me.
Somebody's listening. Otherwise, your radio show would have been canceled.
There you go. I mean, it's just an interest. I mean, we've never seen anything, so many changes happening at once, right? And it seems like everyone's having to be reactive to it. It seems like several of the changes are good. I mean, the coaches that are doing well are embracing the changes. I don't think there's any coach out there that's not coaching for the right reasons, and every coach we talk to, which is, hundreds every year, they're all for like supporting the players. Right. I mean, they want the best thing for the players. It's just hard to manage certain things on a year-to-year basis. So,
yeah, absolutely. I've said this before. I mean, I like the fact that they're able to be compensated, because the fact of the matter is they are generating millions for universities. And that doesn't hide the fact, though, that we're still in this to get a college education and a degree, and to go from being a young man and grow into a man. A lot of times with the tutelage of a college coach or a coaching staff, you hear the catchphrase all the time, keep the main thing the main thing. Well, the main thing is to go to college, to love, to learn, to grow, finish with the degree, and then go become a professional, whether you're a professional at Enterprise Rent-A-Car or you're a professional in the NBA. What does that matter? Right. I mean, the main thing is to be able to provide for yourself and your family for the rest of your lives. And, if we can accelerate that process through sharing some money now and build a better tomorrow for our players, why wouldn't we do that? But that comes with a lot of question marks, and that comes with a lot of things that must change. And most people don't like change. Let's just face the fact. So, we've got to continue to help make it better and better and better. And nothing's going to be perfect, but we got to keep working through it.
Yeah. Enterprise will pick you up just on their time. So I really like what you put together this offseason. You got a couple returners, which is really unheard of in a lot of programs. But I really like kind of your roster kind of configuration. Kind of tell me what people can expect next year from you guys.
It's hard for me to tell you 100% because we haven't done a whole lot as a team. We've done a lot individually in small group workouts, but in reality, we've only had a couple, maybe 3 1-hour workouts as a team. I think we're bigger and longer at the guard and the wing, just from a physical standpoint, from a taking up space on the court standpoint. We still don't have a true rim protector. You don't have a 6'11", 7'1" guy that's just bouncy and athletic and can erase mistakes defensively. But we've got more girth inside at the center position. And then I think once we get one of our other players from Greece, once he's able to get into the country, I think that just adds another dimension of shooting from the forward spot, from the power forward spot, which we haven't had nearly as much as we need. We had some, but we need it more. So long story short, I think offensively we're going to be better. Can we adapt the same hard-working, hard-hitting, unselfish team philosophy? That's yet to be determined. But I'd like to think that that's what they pay us to coach for, is to get those guys to do what we want. And that's got to be our focus, our goal.
Yeah. If you need a big bouncy, just spend about $3-4 million. You'll find them.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
It's true,
Coach
though.
Lutz
I mean,
has
let's
been-
be honest.
Coach Lutz has
Like,
been known to find some diamonds in the rough with some of those bigs. The Zach Edey at Purdue. I mean, that's one of the biggest diamonds in the roughs that's been out there the last 3 decades. So
Yeah, your guys. It's so funny you say that. So Coach Payne and I are talking on the phone this morning, and we're going out recruiting in DC this weekend, and we spent an enormous amount of time in DC that year because the 4 kind of targets, maybe you should say, that Purdue had were Hunter Dickinson, DeMatha, Colin Castleton from Florida, Ryan Kalkbrenner from St. Louis, and Zach Edey. And we spent a lot of time in DC. So I'm going to DC where these tournaments were that we would be at. And Payne and I were talking, and we're like, you can go out there again and recruit Hunter Dickinson. We're not going to get him again. And I started laughing. I go, but Coach, we got a pretty good player out of that deal. He goes, you could have never scripted it that Zach was going to be 2-time player of the year. And I said, you're right. But, I mean, it's a testament to the kid and to Coach Payne and the staff and how hard we work to develop him. But it's just it's crazy sometimes. Every once in a while you get lucky. Got to be lucky.
Yeah. Absolutely. Got to be the right place, right time, have the right instincts.
Well, I think Kalkbrenner and Hunter Dickerson still has some eligibility.
No, they don't.
I think they do. I think the NCAA just passed it.
Wouldn't be surprised with everything, but yeah. So you mentioned you get paid to develop players. You also get paid to win games, go to the big dance, right? And you're an elite competitor at the highest level, and that's, I think, what your ultimate goal is to do at Oklahoma State. Is one of your milestones there. And how does putting a schedule together come into play with kind of building that tournament resume? I know this year you have 2 less Big 12 games, which opens up some variables for non-conference play as well. Let's start with non-conference. How's that schedule lining up, and what were you looking to do there?
Yeah, I really like the 18-game schedule because it allows us to we can each kind of tailor where we're at within our program, right? And so let's say, for example, BYU is going to be fantastic. Houston's going to be fantastic. And on down the line, those guys can schedule at a little different clip, say, than I can, right? Yep. And so from our perspective, we have to schedule enough opportunities within the quad 1 and quad 2 area to get enough to get yourself into the tournament. End of the day. And then you got to win the quad 3s and quad 4s, right? But last year, we probably didn't do a good enough job in the non-conference of having some other high major home and homes and or quad 1, quad 2 games that can help you get your net up and your RPI up in the non-conference. Now, part of that also is we didn't win. Right? You got to win those games. At the end of the day, you can schedule all you want. If you don't win the games, it doesn't matter. So we've been very cognizant of trying to make sure that we get enough quad 1 opportunities and hopefully wins in the non-conference so that now when we get into the Big 12, you're just continuing to build the resume rather than trying to start at the bottom and really climb your way up in such a hard league. I mean, it's been the best league in the country probably 3 out of the last 5 years or 4 out of the last 5 years, right? So it's going to be hard to do that if you're trying to dig yourself out of the hole. So you've got to win some games in the non-league.
Yeah. I would agree with you. I mean, you just got to win at all all chances you can get. What I find interesting is you talked about home and home games. It just feels like there's so many neutral site games nowadays. And I personally don't like them. Sam likes them. I don't like them, but I wonder if that's kind of playing into trying to get more home and home games because of, there's a game in Atlanta now and there's a game in wherever it is. Do you feel like that's kind of a problem or not really?
I don't. I mean, I'm kind of like Sam. I think that the general public likes those neutral site games. Like, for example, and I can't tell you the specifics, I think we're going to come to Chicago and it's going to be 2 high major games in the Bulls Arena right around Thanksgiving. And shoot, that's big time, That's big.
It's great.
So yeah, so if you can do those things, you're playing quality competition. Obviously, when you start getting into the net and all those sorts of things, playing a top 50 team on the road versus a top 75 team in a neutral, all that gets into your net, and you got to just be smart about balancing that. But I like both. I think for Oklahoma State, and I believe that our fan base echoes this, we want to have some home and homes.
Yeah,
like we've got.
It's just the atmosphere and the band, and that's what I love. I love those, but no one cares.
But you got to be, in my opinion, you got to try and be somewhat smart about that too, as well. Like we have A&M starting here, and then we'll go to College Station next year. We're playing Grand Canyon in neutral in Phoenix this year, but they're coming to our campus next year. So you want to balance it, right? Yep. Again, don't forget what I told you. You got to win those games. Like if you're going to be an NCAA tournament team, you got to win those games. But the other thing that I've tried to be cognizant of is trying to schedule like opponents. And I don't mean that to be whatever, because I know exactly where we're at. I know what we have to do, and let's go do it. But it makes no sense to schedule a team that has 3 and 4 times the NIL money that you do.
Yeah.
Right. You're going to schedule yourself into a tough situation. So if you can, find like opponents, or, we all have a general guess as to what everybody has. And if you're playing comparable opponents, man, I think that just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Sam, let's get them going. All right. Start it. Let's
do
it.
Yeah. So we're going to do a little thing called the shot clock. LT is going to fire off 5 or 6 questions. Could be one word, could be short story. Platform's going to be yours.
Okay.
Totally different questions than before, Coach.
That's good, because I went back and watched my last one just to make sure.
That's where we got that one other view and download.
I'm totally kidding.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Favorite college player and team as a child that you loved growing up? Who was the team?
I was Georgetown Hoyas and Patrick Ewing. I loved him.
I see the resemblances. Yeah, good. They were awesome. They were fun to watch. They were. I remember seeing Alonzo Mourning and Dikembe Mutombo play in college at UCF at the USF Holiday Classic. And I remember the rim is still shaking from those two. It was, and then John Thompson with the towel and whew.
Yeah. Ooh, okay. Yeah, I just finished the book. I Came From a Shadow the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Good book.
Yeah,
long
just
read.
an icon. Just an icon.
My high school basketball coach was a guy named Mark Daly, and he played for Mike Jarvis. And Mike Jarvis was Patrick Ewing's high school coach. So I remember hearing some stories about Patrick Ewing back in the day. He was pretty darn good. Mm-hmm. All right, which person on your coaching staff would you say had the highest GPA in college?
Oh, wow.
And I don't think Luke knows the actual answer to this either.
I don't know that answer either.
Who would you think?
I would absolutely say, now is anybody on my staff?
Sure.
I'd say Brady Price. He's Oklahoma State grad. I would have to think he's in the high threes.
Okay. Did he score? Did he play basketball at Oklahoma State?
No. He was a manager, and he was our grad.
He probably had a good GPA. And if he played, it might have been more like 2.0, but we won't go there. Toughest to
don't knock. Hey, hold on, real quick. You can't knock like the basketball GPA at Oklahoma State, because in the fall we got a 3.1, and in the spring we got a 3.5.
Yeah,
3.5.
Are they taking that?
Might be the highest GPA I've ever been around.
Are they taking actual classes? Like they're not taking coaching strategies?
No. Yes, we got 8. We had 8.
I had table tennis 1 and 2 actually in college.
Of course you did.
Of course,
we had 8 people graduate this spring. 8
That's
people
impressive.
graduate, and literally 3.51 or 3.53. I wish I had a bonus for like our GPA or something.
I know, right?
You should work on that. That's the thing that's just not talked about. Yeah. Graduation, APR, GPA. It's all about NIL and that kind of stuff. But anyway, toughest arena to coach in the Big 12?
Allen Fieldhouse by far. Last year, I would say I've only got 1 year under my belt, but last year,
pretty amazing.
The hardest.
Sam and I have been many times to Allen Fieldhouse. He's from Kansas City, and my uncle was a professor and on this head of the athletic board. So we've been to Allen Fieldhouse, and it's pretty amazing, pretty special. It's always good when they start singing Rock Chalk Jayhawk with 3 minutes or 4 minutes to go. Makes you really feel good. So don't let that happen to you, Coach.
Thanks for pouring salt in the wound, LT.
No, did you? Was it that bad?
Yeah, we got beat bad there. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't have enough timeouts. You can't stop the momentum. Once that place gets rocking and they're
I know.
And they had just come off a loss. It was tough day.
Yeah, I know. Believe me, we know. Who led the Big 12 in personal fouls called as a team last year?
Gotta be. It should have been Houston. That would be my guess.
Most physical. They're definitely the most physical and aggressive team defensively.
No. Look in the mirror, coach. It was Oklahoma State, 19.5.
I was gonna say if it wasn't them, it was us. But that was because our defense was poor, not because we fouled a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, when you're in 10 teams at the end, you got to foul too. So it's all good.
So guess who was 15th and 16th? 15th was a little bit surprising for the least amount of fouls. 15th was Kansas at 14.2. And Wes Miller really knows how to work the officials because they only got called 13.9 fouls per game for the Cincinnati Bearcats. So
interesting.
Yeah, good stat. Really doesn't mean anything, but good stat. All right, Coach, last question. If they made a Hollywood movie about your life, okay, it's a 3-part question. What would the title be? Who would play you? And what is the theme song?
What would the title be?
It's on the spot here.
Something about rising, because obviously I started at the bottom and have been able to ascend in a business that's pretty hard.
Okay, so you got your title and your song, Drake.
I started from the bottom. Now I'm on top.
Yep.
Who's the actor?
Play it?
I'm thinking about this.
I mean, I get it has to be somebody that looks like me. Who would I like? Who would I like to be cool like, and for him to be me?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Matthew McConaughey.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that was going to kind of lead to my next question. Like, you can't have a Texas guy playing an Oklahoma State coach, though, can you? And you're a Texas guy. Like, you were born and raised in Texas, and now you're Oklahoma State. Like, do you see any conflict there?
No.
It
is what it is. You asked me who I'd want. It wasn't like it had to be real.
Yeah, right.
I just always wanted to be cool like him.
Okay.
Hey, he is one of the coolest guys on the planet, that's for sure. Yep. And with Oklahoma City Thunder winning the NBA championship, has any of that kind of basketball fever made its way down to Stillwater recently?
Yeah, man,
how's kind of the state of basketball?
The entire state, man. The entire state loves it and just embraced it. It's funny, you follow all these guys on social media, and we were out on the road recruiting last weekend, and I didn't even get to see the game because I was in an airplane. And you land and you're looking at your players' Instagram stories and stuff. They're all down there in Oklahoma City after the game, and you see them in the streets, and they're enjoying it just like the normal person, which I thought was super cool. But the state, man, I'm telling you, this state, they embraced the Thunder, and they went. I went to game 1 of the Grizzlies. I went to game 1 of the Timberwolves, and then I went to some other game. I don't remember who it was, but nonetheless, it's like a college atmosphere in terms of people cheering, in terms of the fans being involved, and then the Thunder do a great job of always having things within the game, like blue out or a white out or a checkered, and then when you get into the seat, you have the thing that you hit to make the noise. I mean, they do a fantastic job of that. You're always taking mental notes of things that we can do here at home state. So they've set the bar and the standard very, very high.
Yeah, I remember seeing an interview when they brought the team to Oklahoma City, and the new ownership and management down there was basically like, we've got some of the best athletic fans, like fans of sports, like in our entire state. And that's been proven with the colleges and the universities in Oklahoma, right? And so they wanted to bring that college atmosphere into that Oklahoma City Thunder. And I remember like that first whiteout game there. I mean, they just kind of set the standard for kind of what that rowdiness looks like. And it's culminated this past week. So
yeah, I kind of charged the fan base the other day. I did an interview or some media stuff, and I charged our fan base. Like, guys, if we can do that in Oklahoma City, we can do that in Gallagher-Iba.
Nice. Love it.
Yeah, I would agree for sure, Coach. But we're going to let you go. You're going to stick on for one more second. I'm really excited for Eskimo Joe's. Oh, did I say it out loud? My bad. Been there, done that. Is Eskimo Joe's barbecue just as good as Kansas City barbecue, Sam?
I don't know. It's hard to answer that question. Eskimo Joe's has the best cheese fries. The sweet pepper cheese, bacon cheese fries are the best by far. I mean, they've got barbecue on the menu, but when you go to Kansas City Joe's or something like that in Kansas City, I mean, it's all barbecue. Eskimo Joe's has everything. So it'd be more like Tanner's than it would be Oklahoma Joe's or Kansas City Joe's. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. Well, Coach, you're going to stick off this one more time. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles. If you're watching us on YouTube, I actually tanned for this. So subscribe to the Full Court Network YouTube channel, or I just sit outside watching baseball and golf as I chase my kids around the damn fields and fairways and all that stuff. But thanks to Coach Lutz. We love Coach Lutz, and we're excited for the Cowboys, even though we grew up Jayhawk fans. We'll be cheering for the Cowboys this year. Check them out, and thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week on a Full Court Press, a college basketball coaches show.